Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Hope you are in good condition. So for this time, we are from Group 5. We'll do a group presentation about listening actively. So I'm Prolin Fadilah Nurdin as a moderator and my friends Yuni Sharani and then Nabila Pudin Nuref. So without too much talk, let's jump into it. First of all, we have to know what active listening is. So active listening is an important communication skill in various disciplines and professions. Active listening, also called empathic listening, is the act of listening to the speaker, avoid premature judgment, reflect understanding, clarification of information to restate the speaker's paraphrase, version, message, and ask questions, summarize, and share active listening was first articulated as formal practice. Conceptualization of empathy listening as a condition for humanization interpreting. So next material will be delivered by Uni.
Okay, to the role. The role of listening in interpreting is another major element in the oral translation process is listening. The first step in the quality of interpreting relates to listening and analyzing the source language speech so that one can transfer the message as accurately as possible. Having a high level of focus, listening skill, and powerful short-term memory are the main factors to conduct interpreting perfectly. Listening is particularly important in simultaneous interpreting, where the interpreter has to concurrently listen and speak during a large portion of the time. Next is technique. What is the technique? Active listening is crucial in simultaneous interpreting, where the interpreter has to listen and speak at the same time. Here are some techniques for active listening in simultaneous interpreting. First, listen to a sentence. Pause to think about the interpretation, interpret, then move on to the next sentence. To visualize a mental scene of what speaker is describing using spatial representation where possible. And then concentrate on the message instead of words, details, or form of the source language. And understand the context, listen actively and critically, take effective notes, analyze and reformulate, practice and improve, and then learn from others. By applying these techniques, interpreters can improve their active listening skills and enhance their performance in simultaneous interpreting.
Okay, thank you, Uni. Next material. Next slides, operator. Next, yeah. Aspect will deliver by Nabila. Please, Nabila.
Okay, aspect. Active listening is crucial skill in simultaneous interpreting. Here are some key aspects to consider. First, concentration. Interpreter must maintain intense concentration to process the short language while simultaneously producing the target language. Avoid distraction and stay focused. The second, anticipation. Skilled interpreters anticipate what the speaker will say next by following the context and speaker tone, which help maintain a smooth flow of interpretation. Third, nonverbal cues. Pay attention to the speaker body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice, as this can provide valuable context. For continual improvement, actively listening during practice and sharing feedback can help interpreters refine their skill over time. And the last, rest and self-care. Active listening in simultaneous interpreting is mentally taxing, so interpreters need adequate rest and self-care to maintain performance. Next slide. Technique for improving listening. Next slide. First, improving language knowledge. The second, ear adaptation. The interpreter trying to find comfortable ear. Third, schedule for daily practice. For creating an image of the message. For comprehensive listening and intensive listening. Remember that active listening is not just about hearing, but understanding the meaning and conveying it effectively in another language. Practice and experience are essential for mastering this skill. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nabila. So we have two videos that we will show you guys. The first video.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say can and will be used against you in court of law. Do you understand that?
Sí. Yes.
You also have the right to counsel. If you're unable to afford counsel, this court will appoint counsel to represent you. Are you able to afford an attorney?
No. No.
Do you wish me to appoint counsel to represent you?
Sí. Yes.
And toward that end, have you filled out this financial affidavit?
Sí. Yes.
Can I be satisfied that the information here is true and correct?
Sí. Yes.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the information on this financial affidavit is true, correct, and complete? So help you God.
Sí, lo juro. Yes, I do.
Okay, Nabila, maybe maybe we can review the first video for the first video by Nabila.
Okay. In carrying out simultaneous translation, the interpreter must have good hearing and high concentration. We can see in this video that the interpreters translate quickly and simultaneously. The interpreter also use a tool such as handphone and microphone.
Okay, thank you, Nabila. We can next to the second video.
Clear, Mr. Ambassador. The United States may not recognize the ICC as a legitimate court, but we certainly do not condone the methods President Zwane uses against his own people.
Ula Zwane ni sitsizini.
Dr. Zwane is an educator,
Simitui. Ula Zwane.
not teacher.
Ngaitizaba.
But his opponents engage in ever more ferocious acts. The partisans of both Kuman and Rashid Zola have become terrorists.
French proposal is a diplomatic headache for both of us.
Kashioma Yohi.
Not in particular.
Doesn't have to be. Dr. Zwane wouldn't have to appear before the International Criminal Court, although he were somewhere else.
For the ones from Mapawa.
Ganga Katungwa.
You want him to resign?
Tell him this.
Manoni, Maniri.
If he goes voluntarily, I'm confident the French proposal will be beat up.
You can tell him yourself. He will be here next Friday, exercising his right to speak before the General Assembly, where he will announce a new program of democratic reform. Perhaps then there will be no vote and the problem of your predicament will disappear.
Okay, just
End here.
thank you, operator. So for the second video, please review by Uni.
Okay, we can see in the video that the interpreter really listened carefully, therefore she translates directly and paused a few seconds. She has a high level of focus, listening skills, and strong short-term memory. The interpreter also focused on listening to one sound before finally translating the sound into the target language. But the error have been incurred in the way he transferred the language. Look from the expression on her face. She looked wrong while interpreting. She didn't do her job well and she didn't convey the message properly.
Okay, thank you, Uni. So yeah, we can see the difference in the two videos. In the first video, we can see an interpreter quickly conveying the target language, while the second video has slowed down when she interprets, so the listener can hear what is being said. In the first video, the interpreter used tools such as headphones to help her focus on listening to a message or sound, while the interpreter in the second video takes note to help convey the message. In conclusion, both have their own ways of staying focused while listening the speaker. Okay, guys, that's all material from us. That is actively listening material. So thank you for listening to our presentation. Hope you all understand what we have been said. So thank you, guys.